Live. All right. Hello. Welcome to Comedically Correct. I'm Andrew Holiday.
And I'm Corey Evans. I felt like you forgot your fake name. That's why I stepped in.
No, I wanted you to go first.
Oh, I didn't know that. You need to.
I said like when we. All right, we'll do this.
You want to
better.
restart?
No, we'll just do this better next time. They don't need. Our audience doesn't need to expect better from us.
So this is Comedically Correct, and we're both going to explain what we think it means. I think comedically correct means, in my eyes, it goes, hey, we're going to try to make fun of a lot of things, but if something gets too dicey, maybe I'm just a coward. But for me, like when there's something that gets too dicey, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to be honest now. I'm just going to be honest and serious. So that's what comedically correct means to me.
For me, comedically correct means the exact definition I thought up for it was funnier than it is fucked up.
That's a good definition.
Yeah. If a joke is funny, a little fucked up, it's fine. Or if a joke's not funny at all, but also not fucked up at all, like, you know, there's like a little diagram there. Now,
yeah, we'll come up with a diagram.
Yeah.
Because that's open mics. I just started running an open mic, and I have to explain to my audience. I have to tell them, I'm like, you need to understand anyone can come up here and say anything they want. And especially with like first year comedians, they will go up and be like, so I punched my girlfriend. And you'll be like, okay. And they'll be like, no, that's it. That's the joke. Y'all don't get it? And it's like, no, we don't. It sounds like you're a domestic abuser. What are you talking about?
Yeah, is this a joke or a confession?
Yeah, I hate it.
Did you get this confused with an AA meeting? Because there's judgment allowed here.
Well, honestly, I'm pretty forgiving of jokes if there's clearly like I was trying to tell a joke, and I will go up to comics and I'll go, hey, that joke that you said was not funny enough to get away with what you're trying to do. And I don't mind having that conversation where I go like, I see the joke, and the joke was not nearly funny enough to say that fucked up shit about Malaysian people or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. But I've seen that comedian and been that comedian enough where I'm aware.
But there's sometimes it's not a joke. I was talking to a friend. I guess Austin's getting real weird with their comedy scene. And I was talking to a friend. He was like, the guy's last joke was the N-word. And I was like, so he used the N-word in his last joke? And he was like, no, it was the N-word.
He just said the N-word and got off stage?
He said the guy got on stage, told some jokes, and then went, all right, I'll leave y'all with this. N-word. And that I hate that. Because, like, if you think about a joke being a surprise, like, which is what most jokes are, you go with, this is what people expect, and you surprise them. People expected you to be a decent person, and your joke was, I'm a piece of shit. And I hate that. It's like, I don't want a lot of people telling real risque jokes unless they know they're good. But it's like, at least if you tell a joke, I'm like, hey, I saw you were trying to tell a joke. It was not good enough to say that word. Either write a better joke or don't say that word. But when it's just like, no, I just said the word. That's the joke. It's funny because I hate black people. Like, I hate that.
Yeah. Well, my thought is, I think that everything is okay in comedy, but you have to back it up with really, like, there's sometimes where people will start off with a pretty rough concept, and you're like, all right, like, let me see. And then they'll start like tearing it down, and then good or great comedians even will tear it down to where you're like, oh, he's actually saying something. That's pretty smart. That's brilliant. And then sometimes you'll see, specifically in open mics, they'll just like go over that, and then they'll be like, that was it. That was all the substance. Was that?
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah, I feel like we are on different levels. I feel like I might be a little bit more liberalized than you, maybe. I don't know.
Oh no, look at my Facebook. Well, it depends on who you're talking to. Around liberals, I come off as conservative, and around conservatives, I come off as liberal.
But I will say I can find forgiveness in almost anything if, like, you can explain to me what the joke was supposed to be. And as long as the explanation is like, well, they weren't expecting me to say this terrible thing, and then I said it, which is funny. I don't like that kind of joke. It's not a joke, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that, but also I think that that's also the early comics crushing ground or like stopping grounds is like that's something that like everybody has to learn that on their own, kind of. Like you can tell them all the stuff that you can give all your good experience away for free and no one's going to accept it. Like you have to earn that experience. Yeah.
And it's tough as a comic. Like Anthony Jeselnik says some fucked up shit. And if you don't know comedy and you're watching him, you're like, man, he's just thinking of fucked up shit and saying it. And it's like, well, he's writing really good jokes.
Yeah.
And so I think early on comics see, oh, he said this fucked up thing, but they don't see he wrote a well-crafted joke around it. I saw a person in Denver, actually. We were just talking about Denver, who went up on stage and did a joke, and he went, so my girlfriend got pregnant, so I pushed her down the stairs.
Yeah.
And that was the end of his joke. And I talked to him afterwards, and I was like, what the hell was that? And he's like, dude, Anthony Jeselnik talks about abortion. I was like, Anthony Jeselnik writes good jokes. You can't just say you physically assaulted your girlfriend. That's not a joke. That's just, you're fucked up.
Yeah, I was actually I thought that I was making fun of those jokes because I used that same punchline, which was I don't know if you've heard this one. My girlfriend I was like recently found out my girlfriend was pregnant. That's like being told that you only have 9 months to live, yada yada, right? Go through the joke. But according to the doctor, my girlfriend wasn't pregnant, and it turns out had never been pregnant, and it made me feel really bad. Because it seems like I pushed her down the stairs for no reason.
But see, you could explain that joke. You could be like, well, so here's the surprise in that joke that you can explain. Yeah. One, don't like the joke, Andrew. But like you could be like, so like me saying like she found out she wasn't pregnant, I felt really bad. That could be so many things that the audience would expect. Oh, he felt really bad because he was excited. He felt really bad because his girlfriend was sad.
I like to drop the mood and then.
But there's a joke there. There's an attempt at a joke, and it's there, and it's very clear. And if someone asks you, explain that joke to me, you could say something other than, well, like, most people don't push their girlfriends down the stairs, but I did. It's, I don't know.
That's part of like my whole like psychopath joke. Like, I think I was writing like a bunch of like, I hate my girlfriend. I'm secretly a psychopath jokes. And those I actually relied on for years was like, if like an audience wasn't working, I would just go to those jokes.
Those jokes like that are fun because if an audience isn't working, you can say either this is going to get them or it's me going, look, I don't fucking care about y'all. There is like, I have the audience doesn't like me. Fine. Then I'm going to tell you my most fucked up jokes because y'all already don't like me. Worst case scenario, y'all keep not liking me. Best case scenario, y'all are monsters too. And I win you back.
Oh yeah. Well, like the other thing is like sometimes like comedians panic when they're losing an audience, and then like that's like when like some weird stuff happens on stage.
I really think West Texas is a good training ground for like your audience has turned against you. Like that was honestly when I moved to Chicago, people were like, "You're so good at handling hecklers. How'd you get so good at handling hecklers?" And I was like, all my audiences were hecklers for the first 2 years.
It's like, I'm glad none of them were trying to knife fight me.
Oh, do you remember when that dude tried to fight me at, can I tell a quick story? Cause I did a set at, the mall in Odessa, Texas.
Bar 10 in the mall.
Bar 10. Okay. And some dude, I told some joke and some dude yelled out, "Your dad's gay." And I was new to comedy. I didn't know how to respond to that. So I said, "My dad's dead," which is not true. My dad is very much alive. Great guy. But I just didn't know how to respond. So I was like, "My dad's dead." And then he said, "My dad's dead too." And I said, "Good." And this guy got so mad that he was waiting for me off stage. And I got off stage and he was like, let's go talk outside. And I said, I don't want to do that. And I kind of like got lucky and was being very charming and also very much like, sorry, sir. And he ended up liking me for some reason. And then I'd done some jokes about being a teacher. And he was like, so you teach, where do you teach? And I said, I teach at this school. And he said, oh my God, my son goes to that school. And he said, do you know this kid's name? I'm not allowed to say the name legally. And also I forgot the name, but who cares?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I know that kid. And then the kid the next day said, you met my dad last night. I said, yeah. And he said, my dad said he was going to kick your ass. I hated Odessa so much.
Odessa is such a, like, it's in the middle of nowhere and somehow it feels like the center of the universe at the same time.
That's just to you, man. Get the fuck out of Odessa.
At
least move to Lubbock.
I'm definitely moving somewhere. I'm currently in beautiful Houston. Let me try to get the sun out of here.
Houston's a great comedy scene.
Yeah, I would.
Awful city. I hate it.
Well, let me see if this adjusts.
Oh, hey, that's much better. That's a lot better.
I figured. So now that you guys can see my face, real quick, some of our adoring listeners were wondering about my near-death experience, and I did advertise it on one of our title lines. So about 8 months ago or 9 months ago, what month is it? Almost a year ago.
he was out of it.
Yeah,
mad at him.
I was in a coma for a lot of it. There was a worldwide pandemic. I don't know if anybody remembers. And a lot of people were getting sick. A lot of people were dying. And I decided to get on a plane to go on a business trip. I was being careful, but apparently not careful enough. I got sick and stranded in Corpus Christi during a hurricane, in fact. My dad had to drive over water to me, and then I just kept on getting worse. Like, at the time, it wasn't that funny. But yeah, so I kept on getting sick. For 8 months, I was like in and out of comas. I lost 80 pounds, almost died 3 times. They put like a ventilator in me. Before this, I was relatively healthy. Yada yada. Long story short, I lost 80 pounds. My butt, my lungs. I didn't have to get a lung transplant. The only thing I know about these lungs right now is that they were from a 35-year-old, and he didn't have HIV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Male.
Good.
Yeah. Male 35-year-old didn't have HIV. That's all they'll tell you. And then like anything else, like you can ask, and maybe his family will get back to us. I think it would be super cool to talk to them. You know, see what he was like. See if like I pick up any of his traits at some point. Supposedly. I don't know. My beard's gotten me nicer, so I wonder if that's from him.
The beard, here's the other thing, is Andrew looks great. If you saw him, I would say even a month and a half ago, you looked. I remember seeing a picture of you, and we're not even close friends, and I almost cried because I was like, he's just walking to death.
Yeah.
He's just on his way.
Oh, dude, I thought I felt like I looked emancipated, or not emancipated. What's the word? What's the word I'm looking?
Freed. I looked like I used to be a black slave.
Yeah,
and then I was freed through the lungs.
Yeah.
I know what word you're talking about. I don't know what it is.
Feel free to say the correct word in the comments down below.
I'm so sorry. We're gonna get canceled, and it's my fault.
Yeah, it's okay.
Emaciated?
Yes, emaciated. I was emaciated. I looked emaciated. All that for that one word. I lost so much, like my face was like sunken in features and stuff like that. it was rough. Like I actually didn't like. My mom was like taking pictures of me. She's like, "You so my beautiful boy" and stuff like that. And I was like, those are rough photos. I guess not. Let's not make that my profile pic. So yeah, but I was relatively healthy. I was to the point where I've actually been interviewed by a few national TV things, like because I was a young person that got really sick, so that was a story. So I've been in worldwide news. There's a chance if you're watching this, you've seen one of the interviews that I've been on. I was on Scott Simon on NPR, a few other ones, because they were just like, and they were all asking the same questions. They're like, well, what's it like, almost dying? And I was like, same as everything else,
I loved how much they gripped onto you being a comedian, and they'd be like, "Get the laughs back."
Yeah. Learn one of the titles, and I wish that they would consult me because like they're like, as a comedian, I don't like taking things too seriously, and like I hate things that are like dramatic for the sake. But like it's like learning to laugh again is like one of
That was the Odessa one, right?
yeah, that was the Odessa one. It's like learning to laugh again.
Can I please explain this? Because this is one of the few I watched. One, Andrew's a very funny comedian who I've known for what, 5 years now, 6 years?
Yeah.
We've
like
known each other a while.
Yeah, quite a while.
And like he said, he's a healthy person. He looks a lot better. He did look really bad at some point. And did you look bad when you did that interview, or did they just decide to use bad pictures of you?
That was one of the early interviews. So yeah, no, I probably looked bad in that.
Okay. Because I remember watching that and they're like, Andrew, what's your fake name? I'm using your fake name.
Oh yeah, Holiday.
Andrew Holiday, comedian, coronavirus. And then they like cut to a picture of you laying on a bed with a harmonica, just like
yeah, and they're playing all that sappy music at the same time. I stopped watching those. Every one of them, I was like, I don't want to share that with people.
Well, and you shouldn't watch that. I was like, he's funny. You need to put, and then like they would like just try to kind of make you look like a comedian, but not. It's like you need to do something about butt stuff in here if you're going to talk about him being a comedian. Like you better have an anal joke in there.
Oh yeah, no, there were quite a few times where like I would pop off with like a good joke, and I was like, they're gonna cut that.
Yeah.
Like the second I got a good laugh, I was like, I'd see a look like on her face, like she would like write down the time, and I was like, oh, that's the timestamp. Are you gonna cut that? All right, I knew.
But okay, so
from now on,
with Corona,
yes,
you had to get a lung transplant.
Double lung transplant, yes.
Double lung transplant. You are the person who has survived at this point, unless something's changed, the longest without lungs to get lungs and recover.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it's a world record. They're actually still looking into it.
Okay. And now you're here. And if you listen to any other episodes, we're going to make up shit about what happened to Andrew from here on out. We're never talking about this again from now on. Like,
we might reference it loosely, but
the thing is, if you reference it loosely, if you're like, when I was in the hospital, I'm going to be like, for those listeners who have not caught up, Andrew was attacked by Mormon sharks, and they tore out his lungs, and he miraculously recovered thanks to actually the Mormon faith, oddly enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to be making stuff up at this point.
Yeah, so we're not going to... Yeah, so this is going to be the first and last time that you will get my story, unless you listen to NPR.
Yeah, I think I ran into your story like on accident on NPR. I don't think I was... Because was it on the morning one? It was like NPR. I forget the name.
Yeah, Scott Simon? Yeah, but I know they played it a couple of times because my cousin missed the first one, and she's like, and she heard it the second time they broadcast it. So, and they teased.
I feel like I was listening in the morning one day, and I was like, I know that jackass. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you'll also know my real name. So there's that as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now let's start with the news. If you guys hear anything in the background, that would be my mom's. She's making a sale. So, I'm gonna tell you the crime. You guess the state that the crime happened.
Okay.
Man throws baby at police after high-speed chase.
I swear to God, if that didn't happen in Florida, I'm moving.
You are correct. It happened in Florida.
What was the crime? I mean, other than throwing the baby. Throwing the baby is obviously a crime.
Yeah.
But what was the crime pre-baby throw?
Apparently just resisting arrest.
That's not nearly as bad as throwing a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, so they were just attempting to carry out a traffic stop, and the guy's like, "You're not getting me," and just take the baby. Him and his child go on a high-speed chase. Then he crashes his vehicle, gets out of the car. Cop comes to arrest him, and he full-on overhand throws the baby to Deputy Jacob Kirby. Told him, and he's like, "It wasn't a nice underhand throw from a foot away. It was a full-on overhand throw." So
Jesus Christ.
Like, I'm hoping they put like a like he had his like pinky out and put the spiral in it.
Just a real tight spiral. His footwork was good.
Yeah. Okay, and those of you guys, like, I know the second you heard this, the baby was fine.
That's good. I did not know that. I was just being a dick. I'm sorry. I should have asked that right away.
I couldn't stop laughing before I even started reading the article. Like, the baby. But yeah.
My favorite part about that story is he was doing something not as bad as throwing a baby.
Yeah.
Like, that would be like, well, I got caught for jaywalking, so clearly I threw my baby at him. And it's like, no, that was the crime, dude. You were going to get like a ticket.
Yeah.
Like, evading arrest, like, I don't know what he did to evade arrest, but like, you weren't going to go away for that long. Yeah. And now you threw a baby. No jury's going to be on your side.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Grand Theft Auto thing where like you keep on escalating your crime, trying to get away from the cops. Yeah. Like, at first you steal a car, and it turns out it was right in front of a cop. You're like, ah, crap. You're like, I gotta get away from this cop. Oh wait, I hit a pedestrian. Well, more cops. You keep on just getting more stars on the thing, and then you end it with like, ah, crap, baby toss.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Hail Mary
in a corner. I'm gonna chunk this baby.
Yeah, and he still didn't get away. It didn't work. Yeah, the deputy.
Was it his? What? I'm sorry. Was it his baby?
Yes, it was his baby.
Can you imagine trying to explain that on like their like 12th birthday when you're finally out of prison? And they're like, Papa, why'd you go to prison? It's like, well, I chunked your little soft head ass. Cop. Jesus. Oh my God, people are monsters. I hate this.
Yeah. Yeah, and so now he faces 2 felony accounts: aggravated child abuse and other like aggravated battery, reckless driving, resisting arrest with violence. And then I like the quote, like, "You can't throw a baby at us."
The cops were real pumped. You can't throw a baby at us, dog. Like, we got that. You don't think they trained us for projectile infants? No, we got that. This is Florida.
Yeah, thank goodness that cop had soft hands. Like, just. All right, in a related story, both of them are currently on the 40-man roster for the Miami Dolphins. So, all's well that ends well.
Is it my turn to pick a story? I have
Yes.
a couple. I really want to get into this one. The Burger King worker says customer told her her uniform was distracting her husband.
Please start. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, one, I'm mad that this is mostly an audio podcast. I guess you can get it on YouTube.
Yeah, we are on YouTube.
Okay, then I'm going to share my screen real quick. Because one, she was not wrong. She went to work in her proper uniform. But also, I get it. Like, she's got an ass. I was so impressed. Like, not even, I mean, like, sexually a little bit, but mostly just, like, in an artistic way. To where I was like, God made that ass. I'm agnostic. And that was, like, honestly, if I went to a church and I was like, prove God is real, and they showed me that ass, I'd be like, maybe. Who knows? This girl had a wonderful ass. This is not me. If she ever hears this, she will fight me. But literally, so the wife complained. The wife complained that her uniform was distracting. That the employee's uniform was distracting the customer's husband, and she literally was in a Burger King polo and jeans.
I get it.
Like, I get why it was distracting to the husband, but it's what the hell do you want her to wear? Like, is she supposed to wear like a
full-on blanket?
Yeah, it's
like the Snuggie.
She cannot help that she's blessed. This is bullshit. Like, get your husband in line. And also, how did the wife know?
Yeah, I think the husband needs to be a little bit more discreet about checking out Burger King employees.
Well, was he like out in the open and like the wife caught him? Or did they sit down with their goddamn Whopper and the husband was like, that ass was distracting?
We should talk to the manager.
That woman had such a nice ass that I want to complain.
I don't want to complain, but that's the problem there. Like, also, imagine like going in there, she smells like Burger King, and that ass. I mean, I get it. Like, imagine trying to get your schoolwork done.
Yeah. I really want to know what happened. Did she notice him noticing? Or like what happened there? And it's such a weird mixture of I'm super confident, but I'm also very insecure. Because if you were completely confident and your husband was like, that lady had a nice ass, if you were very, very confident in your ability to keep your husband, you'd be like, she had the nicest ass. I saw it too.
It was polite, friendly.
But if you were too insecure, you wouldn't go up and tell her that, because you'd be like, now it looks like I can't keep my husband. It's just a very weird thing. I don't get it.
I don't get it, but I never understand why women are mad most of the time. Like, I just get yelled at, and then I have to like do the math later. I have to sit down and think about it. So the best I can think of was she was already upset, and she just wanted to take it out on that beautiful Burger King employee.
This is on her. I
think it's on her.
Here's the thing: is men and women both can look at someone and be like, I am sexually attracted to that person. This bullshit that like now we're dating or now we're married and I have no sexual feelings about anyone except you is such bullshit.
I agree.
Like, I can go up to my girlfriend and be like, that woman's hot. And I am attracted to her. Like, and my girlfriend would not be mad. That would not upset her, and it shouldn't. Now, if I sleep with her, that's a different thing. But like, it should be like she's super hot, and if I was single and she was interested, which she probably wouldn't be, I'd be on that. But I loved you so much that I'm not going to embarrass myself by hitting on this woman.
I don't know what planet you live on. I get in trouble for that's like a little crick in my neck. One time I was dating a girl and she told me to tell her sister that she looked pretty because her sister was going on a date. And just quick spoiler, her sister was hot. She was gorgeous. Her sister was freaking amazing. And I think that she knew that. My hair's rubbing against that. So I was very sensitive about it. But her sister comes out in a dress that was tighter than her skin. Like she had to be dipped in it. Like, and it was like her first date after a breakup. So, and she seriously, like, the girl that I was dating was like playing with her boobs, and I had to like side eye that crap. I was like, I'm not, but I'm no. And then she's like, Andrew, tell my sister. Oh yeah, she's Puerto Rican, by the way. I was about to do a horrible accent, but
imagine a Puerto Rican accent that we're not allowed to do.
Yeah, so he's like, Andrew, tell my sister that she looks gorgeous. And I was like, you look great. You look great. But then I ad-libbed it a little bit. I was like, and whoever your meeting for the date tonight is a very lucky dude. And then I didn't even know I messed up till like an hour later when she started like pointing a knife at me.
Jesus.
True story. Yeah, she was making me food, and then she's like, "You think my sister is hot?" And I was like, "I mean, like she's fine. It's okay. I mean, she's all right."
And then, not like fine. She's like fine.
Yeah, she's like fine. Like I mean, like she's okay. I guess if you're into gorgeous supermodel types, yeah, it's whatever. and then she's like, "You think the guy that she's with is lucky?" And like she's doing it in her like sexy Puerto Rican accent, so like my brain doesn't know what's going on. Like my brain's like, is this hot? And I'm like, is this hot?
Is this foreplay? What are we doing?
Is this foreplay or premeditated murder? Like I don't know what's going on here. So yeah, true story, by the way.
See that I disagree with that so much. To think I'm gonna date this person and they're suddenly not gonna find anyone attracted but me is stupid.
Oh yeah, you gotta lie to your, like I'm just like okay with just admitting that I'm gonna lie for the rest of our lives. If like as long as this relationship lasts, as long as I can keep the con going.
I don't even think that's romantic. That's the thing. That's the thing that like you just want me to pretend that I've lost any sexual appetite except for you. I think it's kind of romantic to be like, I'm very attracted to that girl. And if she asked me to go to bed with her tonight, I wouldn't because I love you and that would hurt you. And I'm only like, and I care more about your well-being than my sexual pleasure. I think that is nice. But just being like, nope, I don't find women attractive anymore is stupid.
It's stupid. But,
you're not dating this girl anymore, right? I can talk shit about her.
Yeah, no.
Okay, good.
That was our second or third to last date. It wasn't our last date because I'm not that smart. But the thing is though, the women I date aren't that smart. So I think I can keep a lie going for a long time.
Jesus Christ. You need therapy.
My mom's staring at me. I do need therapy. Tell the insurance that.
Oh Jesus, you're gonna be broke forever, right?
Yeah, until like I don't know, until like
death.
Yeah, till I die. My family's gonna get like a solid $8,000 to bury me, and that's about it. My mom doesn't like that joke. I'm getting live reactions from part of our audience right now.
Well, if your mom's lucky, you'll watch her die. You know, that's how it goes. That's what parents want.
My mom's leaving now.
I'm so sorry. And I love your mom so much.
Yeah, she's great.
She's a fucking saint. She's a mom. Like,
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about how awesome your mom is.
Legitimate mom of the year material right there.
Oh, for sure. I would honestly nominate her, not even as a joke, just
Yeah.
she was there through all of your shark attacks and everything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the shark attack, the bear attack, everything. The time I fell down an escalator that was going up. So
Jesus. I'm sorry. I just switched back to my tab with this girl with this Burger King ass, and it's insane. Okay.
Yeah. Well, currently I'm not dating anybody, so I can say out loud that I'm attracted to other women. But yeah, the women I date. One time I dated a Hooter girl. Well, I've dated more than one Hooter girl, but a certain time that I dated a Hooter girl, I thought it'd be funny to compliment one of her friends' butts, saying, I was like, you have a great butt, and she's like, I have the best butt in the store, right? And I was like, nah, that's Paige. And then, I thought it was funny at the time, and she didn't think it was funny at all. We massively disagreed on my sense of humor.
That's fair.
But in my defense, if you had seen Paige,
great butt,
no,
great behind, nice booty.
Yeah, no, throw a dime on there, you get 13 cents back.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It means the tight butt. I like those tight, firm ones. It's back, the back in the day. But anyway, I've since lost my butt, and I can no longer. I used to have a nice butt back in the day. Anyway, there's another Burger King story that I want to quickly touch on, because I'm in sales, and I just kind of want to let you people know how shitty sales are. It's also a Burger King story. A guy is trying to sue Burger King for upselling. So whenever you go to Burger King, you order something, and pretty much any fast food place, most places will do stuff like this, where they'll say, would you like a medium or a large? You can order the small still and save a little bit of money. Your only choices aren't medium and large. But he thinks, because they don't mention it, they're like, would you like it small, medium, or large? They just say, would you like a medium or large? 90% of the people that come through will either order medium or large, because they think those are the only two choices. It's a psychological thing. And they actually teach you that in the sales training too, is you give them choices. I don't want to brag. I hate salespeople, by the way. It's one thing where I'm like, why I'm really hoping the comedy works out is because I'm really good in sales, and I hate it. I just hate myself. I look at myself in the mirror sometimes, and I'm like, you dog. But anyway, there's another interesting thing. If you have a Coke machine that sells 100 cans a day, and you put a Pepsi machine next to that Coke machine, how many cans do you think that Coke machine sells? Now,
I would. So I will say, if you didn't present it in you're not going to believe this, I would say less. But now that you presented it and you're not going to believe this, I'm going to guess more, I guess.
Yeah. Both will double their sales, because in your head, when you see one Coke machine, your choices are, do I get a Coke or do I get nothing? And those are your 50-50 options. But then when you see a Coke machine next to a Pepsi machine, in your head, your two options are get a Coke or get a Pepsi.
Ah, that makes sense.
So yeah, it's just a psychological thing, and there's millions and millions, probably billions of dollars pumped into research on this stuff to figure out the best and most optimal way to move their products into your, move your money into their banks and their products into your house. So yeah, when you're doing sales, you never say, so are you going to get this or not? You say, well, are you going to get the full plan, or are you going to get the half plan, stuff like that? Or are we going to go ahead and prepay the whole thing? Or do you want to do installments? We can do installments. We can go ahead and get that started. You don't want to show them the option of them not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you make a sale. And I hate to say it, but that's just how life works. And so the guy's suing because he thinks it's
dishonest,
and it is, but it's also life. It's one of those things where it's dishonest, but that's his life, I think.
I'm on the guy's team because honestly, at this point, I did not know McDonald's had a small. I sincerely didn't, because every time I go through, they say, "Would you like the medium or the large?" And I always say medium because I'm like, I don't want to spend a lot of money. I didn't know small was an option.
Yeah, of course, it's an option.
I'm on his team. Sue the shit out of Burger King. No one likes Burger King anyway.
I love Burger King. Are you kidding me?
You love Burger King?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm more a McDonald's person, but yeah, Burger King. I didn't lose 80 pounds that are no, like, the 80 pounds. Part of that was Burger King.
I bet I haven't eaten Burger King in 6 years. It's very disgusting. And if they want to sponsor us, please do.
Burger King, if you're out there, sponsor us.
I
I
think
love
gross.
the angry. I will eat an angry Whopper in front of everybody. And McDonald's, if you're there and you want to get us first, we're ripe. We're
Well,
ripe
the last time I ate at Burger King is when they came out with the Impossible Whopper. And I went there because the advertisement was it tastes just like a Whopper. And I went and I got the Impossible Whopper and I ate it. And an honest thought that went through my head is that probably does taste just like a Whopper, but Whoppers are disgusting.
My first thought was, well, it's closer than I thought they'd be. That's all I thought.
I've had some Impossible Burgers that were pretty good. Not from Burger King, from good places, but God, I hope Burger King sponsors us and I have to suddenly pretend like I like them.
Burger King, if you sponsor us, I will genuinely still love you guys.
I will have sex with the Burger King, like with the mask on and everything. I will do it. If you want me to do it live, I'll do that. If y'all pay us enough, I will make a video with the Burger King and it will be marvelous. It will go viral. I'll do my best to make it go viral. I'll lose my job, but y'all will be paying enough so I can do that.
Yeah, if you pay us enough, I will lose my job too.
Mine's the next story. I had a couple of stories that we had a lot of stories this week. We're not going to go through all of them, but there were some that I was very excited about. This is my favorite title ever. Runaway Donkey on the loose in the same Rhode Island town that saw escaped cow this year. Here we go again.
Yeah, so this town has trouble just keeping track of their livestock. And it's a problem.
A couple of things. One, yeah, how are you that bad at keeping track of your livestock? And two, if you made national news for losing a cow and then a donkey escaped, if I was the mayor, I would have a town hall meeting and be like, y'all don't say shit to People Magazine. But someone obviously called People Magazine immediately because they had the breaking story. And they're like, the cow? The cow town? The town that doesn't know how to take care of a cow? And People Magazine was like, yeah, we were out of stories that week. And they're like, we did it again.
We done lost the donkey this time.
It's also, for some reason, I think Rhode Island is like kind of fancy. But no, they're just losing cows and donkeys left and right.
Yeah, I can't explain why. I can't explain what, like, okay, first off, I don't know how the first one was a news story at all.
I don't get how the second one is, honestly.
It's like the first time we lost a cow, and then that made national news. And I actually remember hearing about that. And the second time we lost a donkey, and nobody shut up about it. Now you guys are on watch now. Like, what are you guys doing to these animals?
It's also People Magazine. It's not a real news organization. They, like, one day an editor walked in and was like, are any celebrities falling out of love? And everyone said, no, the celebrities still seem like they're in love. And he said, well, find me a damn cow then.
Yeah.
And they found a cow. Like, it's just a dumb fucking magazine. I don't know how they exist still, but they seem to be thriving.
Yeah. I don't understand online magazines. My ex was actually really into online magazines, and you flip them just like regular magazine pages. on like
Really?
your little Kindle. Yeah. And for me, I don't know, the only magazines I ever read were, well, other than comic books, were like Maxim magazine, which actually I didn't read, and the few Playboys I was able to get a hold of that I also didn't read. No, I didn't really read magazines. Not thinking about it.
It's very weird being in an age where I feel like we're both at that age to where it's like, yeah, we had porn, but sometimes it took so long to download the porn that you could jump in a trash can and find a Playboy faster.
I remember like wheeling and dealing and stuff like that. Like, also I remember used to being embarrassed, like when I bought, like, because you could buy Maxim magazines. I remember being like, because Shannon Elizabeth was on the cover one year, and I was like, I would like to buy that. And then like the sales lady was like, "Are you old enough to buy this?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. I actually still have that Shannon Elizabeth magazine, by the way.
Good for you. It might be a collector's item at this point.
No,
Cheap.
It's probably, it might be a collector's item if like it was kept in mint condition.
Well, now you can just Google it. That's the weird thing about I tried to explain to someone today because they were complaining about students' dress codes, and they're like, well, the girls sometimes have holes in their jeans that are above the knee. And I'm like, these kids have access to pornography.
Yeah.
It's in the palm of their hand. And you think a hole above the knee is distracting? Like, this kid can go watch someone get gangbanged in 3 seconds.
On their phone. Like, they don't need our Wi-Fi even.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, just I hate dress codes. I'm about to go on a teacher rant. I'm not going to do that because we have to do a it's called Dear Amy.
Dear Amy.
From the Washington Post, but we are going to do a Dear Andy. This is for you, Andy. I've never called you that before. I hate it.
I've never liked being called Andy.
Well, this is what you're called for your advice column. Get over it.
Dear Andy. All right.
Dear Andy, I have a friend with whom I often socialize. He's 65 years old and stubborn. The friend uses the term gender confused when referring to people whom he perceives as not representing their assigned gender. I've told him more than once that I find gender confused a slur against people who understand they are more comfortable expressing themselves as a gender other than their birth assigned gender, and he responded loudly and angrily, "So you're saying I'm not entitled to my own opinion?" I believe he's entitled to his opinion, but I want to tell him that I don't want to continue our friendship if he feels a need to express his opinion in a way that makes me feel so sad and angry. So what should she do? Oh, how do I do this when he isn't willing to listen or change his choice of words? From Lonesome Single.
This is a hard one. I will give you that. I have heard the term gender confused used by people that were in that situation before, and I guess it's okay if you're describing yourself as that.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the times, like, the terminology is changing and moving a little bit. So sometimes you might use the wrong term and then be corrected. So I always like to tell people to be patient with people when you're, because like, a lot of times I think people aren't trying to use the wrong term.
Yeah, they just don't know. Okay.
Yeah. So, and yes, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And you don't have to hang out with people that don't have the same opinion as you. I just don't think that that's healthy. I think that it's healthy to keep people around you that have different opinions than you.
Oh, wait, I was agreeing with you when I completely disagree with you.
Yeah. So, okay. So you agree with the part. It's like, you don't have to be friends with anybody that you don't want to be friends with.
That's what I agreed with. Yeah. I do agree. I think it's healthy to keep people around you who disagree with you. But this thing where you're like, well, I don't know what to do because I don't like him. Yeah. How do I make him someone into a person I like? Don't. Just leave him the fuck alone. Like, people need more confidence. Like, someone doesn't, like, you don't like someone, be like, well, fuck you. I'm done. We're not friends anymore. You can find more friends.
I agree with that. You can find more friends. So okay, I guess I got two parts of this. One, I disagree with keeping people at arm's length just because they don't agree with you on everything. But if it's something that bothers you that much, and you educating them to what your opinions are and how they make you feel isn't working, then yeah, you don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to be around them. Yeah,
I feel like
it's okay to let them go.
I feel like people are just scared of letting go of friends or anyone. I think a big thing, and I'm not a very confident person, but you just have to be like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. And I am a lovely person who can find friends. And if this person starts treating me like shit, I feel like I've seen a lot of people who hang out with friends who they've been friends with since they're like 6 and refuse to get rid of them because they're like, well, they're my friends. No, fuck them. Go find new friends. You're an adult. Like, who cares about, like, and also this dude's 65. Like,
yeah, he's not going to change.
Yeah, stop being his friend. He's got 15 good years left tops. Like, you're going to stop being his friend eventually, either because you grow a set of balls or because he dies. Like, that's what's going to happen. So just grow a set of balls first. So then you don't even have to be sad when he dies.
Or you can kill him.
Or you could murder him. Or you could
I mean, like, you need to think about that as an option.
I don't know why I assume this was a woman. It doesn't say. It's weird their name is Lonesome Single.
Lonesome Single.
Because it's like, this isn't about romance at all. And you just threw in the fact that you're single. Like, are you trying to fuck this dude? You can also fuck people you don't like. That's allowed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, like, I had sex with a girl that was full-on racist. And I knew before, during, and even more afterwards. And I was just quiet. Like, I didn't agree with her on anything. I was just quiet. Because
she didn't call you daddy. She called you Grand Wizard. Like, what happened?
No, she was Mexican. And she had a lot of thoughts on everybody that wasn't Mexican. Other Latin American countries, white people, Black people, Asian people, Jewish people, Jews in particular, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was like on our first date that I kind of like had a hint. And then she's like, who had to profit from 9/11? I was like, what, the government? Because like I was just saying that I had some doubts about Building 7. And then she's like, the Jews. And well, she didn't say it like that. She's like, who was it that profited on 9/11? Who? And then I was like, what? And like I didn't even know about that yet. And then things started progressing like down and up too. Like she thought everything I said was funny and charming. Meanwhile, like I'm like, everything she's saying is horrible and offensive. And I made a decision that I'm not proud of. And if I could go back, I would do it again and take pictures.
Jesus. God. The point is, you can have sex. Like, is this your lonely? You can fuck this old transphobic asshole. You can let him put his dick inside whatever orifice you're into. But just like when you come, be like, you're a bigot. Like, you know.
Yeah. I do think that we should allow for growth of people. Like, I do think that.
I agree.
And I think that that's not felt enough in society, is because the language and stuff that I used when I was younger, I would not sign off on today, particularly stuff that I said and did in high school. So, and the way that I thought about things like that before being educated by people. So that's one of those things that I do think that we should allow for. But at the same time, if somebody's that old, you're not changing them.
But it's also, I want to build on that because I agree. We should allow people to grow and change and learn. And this is one of my problems with political correct culture is most of the people who've gotten like mad at me when I misgender somebody. I know a lot of trans people. There were a lot of trans comics in Chicago, and most of them, if I misgendered them, let's say they were born a woman, they are now a man. And if I was like, well, they 99% of the time were like, hey, please refer to me as he. And that's it. And I'd go, I'm sorry. I'll do a better job with that. And if I messed up again, they'd be like, hey, and I'm so sorry. And then like the people who got mad at me were people who were not transgendered, but had like watched a TV show or something. It was like straight cisgendered people, I guess is the term. I hate the term cis. It sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, how dare you? And so it's very frustrating because I agree we should allow people to change. But I sincerely think that most people going through these issues, from my experience, have been very kind and very understanding of, hey, you met me when I went by he, and I referred to myself as a man, and now I don't do that anymore, so that's a little confusing. I think a lot of times the issues with this are people trying to be allies. Not that you shouldn't be an ally.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, I don't know. I think that there's sometimes people look for something to get angry about too, and those are the ones that make me upset. Because I was like, because those are the ones where I'm like, I don't know what you're actually mad about.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Because it's the same as like a lot of times, like if somebody calls me Andy, and I was like, well, I prefer Andrew or Drew. And then like if they keep on calling me Andy, that's disrespectful. Like, I'll remind you a couple of times, and then I just figure you're being a dick.
Sure.
But I'm okay with Dear Andy.
But imagine, I like Dear Andy. I'm sorry. It goes well. But imagine if like we went out for a drink and I said, and you bought me a drink and I went, thank you so much, Andy. And someone who was kind of your friend came up to me and was like, don't you fucking dare call him Andy. His name is Drew, you motherfucker. That's what it's like in this world. Because you would not react that way if I called you Andy once.
No, of course not.
You'd say, hey, I don't like being called Andy. And I'd be like, my bad. It's very confusing. We got, that was a good Dear Andy segment.
There was a time where I was at, what was it? Saltgrass, I think. Okay. And one of the people that we were with was transgender. And the guy, he did a quick pause. He's like, gentlemen, ladies, and everybody else, to the transgender. And then he's like, it's okay. Because like you could see the guys like got really like flustered all of a sudden because like he realized he made a mistake just in the moment. And I was like, you could rip him apart right now, and there's nothing he could do about it. He's just like a little deer, like just sitting out by himself. And then like they use like, and then I can't remember his name now. Was like super gracious about it. It was like, yeah, cool, it's whatever.
Yeah, most people are when they're going through that. And honestly, even when they aren't, I feel like if I misgender someone, let's say they like the pronouns he and I say she, and if they rip into me, which has almost never happened, it's still, you have to remember, this is after a lot of people have accidentally misgendered them. And this is also after a lot of people have probably been like, were you born a she? Then I'm calling you a he. And that's so fucked up. I hate that so much. I have students now who will be like, I go by this name. And they'll be like, well, your mom didn't give you that name. And shut the fuck up. Because when someone's like, well, my name is Chuck, no one goes, actually, your mom named you Charles. So that's your name now. Shut up. Just call them what they want to be called.
Like, unless it's like, I don't know, like, I remember my friend Brandon wanted to be called Roach out of nowhere.
Roach?
Yeah. And none of the teachers thought that.
With students, if a student told me my name's Roach now, I'd say, okay, is that the name I'm saying when I call home? And if they said, yeah, I'd go, all right, okay, cool, Roach. Whatever, man.
I guess that's a good way of making sure that it's like legit.
It's also confusing because I do have a kid who goes by a different name, and I said, so that's the name I call you when I call home. I say this name, and they said, no, do not call that name. Do not tell my parents that name because like they will kick me out of the house. And that's a different, very sad story. But it's just, I had a kid who recently was like, my name is C-Bands, and I said, okay. And every time, all right, your turn to read C-Bands, and he finally came up to me and he was like, people are making fun of me because you're calling me C-Bands. And I was like, okay, then what do you want me to call you? I want you to call me this name. And I was like, okay, that's not on me though. That's because you made a joke and you got mad that I took it seriously.
Yeah. C-Bands isn't that bad of a nickname.
I don't think it's terrible. It's weird. I don't think it's cool either.
I had blackout in high school. I passed out on a girl when I tried to make out with her. Wondering the backstory on that.
I've got one more article I really want to talk about.
Okay. Let's do it.
Because one, it's sad and it's kind of funny, and it's also, it makes me have sincere feelings. So I'm just going to read the headline.
Okay.
Brit twin mauled by crocodile facing 48-hour fight for survival as guide who lured sisters to lagoon goes on a run. So basically the breakdown is this dude sells fake tours. He sold a fake tour to these two twin sisters, and one of them got attacked by a crocodile. But here's my favorite part. Melissa Laree, 28, that's the woman who got attacked by the crocodile. Melissa Laree, who was 28, who was saved from the predator's attack thanks to her twin Georgia, who punched it in the face. The alligator, she punched the alligator in the face 3 times and dragged her sister's body out of the water, is currently recovering in the hospital in Mexico. I love this story. One, it's terrible.
Yeah,
a young girl got attacked and should not have.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's reminiscent of like 47 meters down, like 2 sisters go on a, I don't know how you check on guides, like finding out like who's
meaning there. Yelp, I don't know.
Yeah, because it seems like bad guides cause like a lot of issues in like horror movies, and in real life it seems too.
Well, my thing is, it's terrible this happened to the girl, but I guess I'm a very family person. I think it's amazing because it's not in your human instincts at all to see another human being mauled by an alligator, which is basically a damn dinosaur.
Yeah, dinosaur
it's just a
came and ate your
swimming
sister.
dinosaur. Your dinosaur is eating another person, and everything in your human body should say, you run the fuck away from this dinosaur. If we were hanging out and you got attacked by a dinosaur, I would say, hopefully it's not hungry when it's done, and I would leave. And I like you, but I would not save you from an alligator.
Yeah, which is why.
But I just love the family bond so much that this. Well, it's just, you see, there's pictures of these girls. They're young. They're 28, I believe.
Yeah,
they're petite, and this young petite, stereotypically pretty girl went, nah, fuck that dinosaur, and went and just started punching it in the damn face. That's amazing. I don't care what anyone says. That's,
if you were
not only
that story would get you laid for life. If you were dude,
oh yeah, if she was a dude, that is what she would bring up all the time. Is she'd be like, yeah, one time my twin brother got attacked by this alligator, so I punched it in the damn face 3 times. And if she is a dude, I wouldn't believe her. But it's just like, nah, she is like, you're not taking my fucking sister. And she fist fought an alligator.
Yeah, and apparently won. Like, alligators don't give up their food easy.
No, that's insane. She fist fought an alligator, won, put her damn sister on her shoulder and swam. That's amazing to me, just because I'm so out of shape. I did not realize how hard swimming was until I was at the lake the other day. I can barely keep myself up. She took her sister back to land, and we got an old article. I read the old article. The sister recovered. She woke up from a coma. She was in a coma, and she saved her sister's life. That's amazing. I guess that's not super funny. It's the idea of like a real petite woman. I love it so much. I love when families are like, nah, we're going to go to war.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not a fan of animal abuse, but it's whatever in this case.
I'm a fan of animal abuse if you're saving your sister. That's fine. You can abuse a couple of animals.
It's not like they didn't have another one. Like, she's a twin.
And this episode is brought to you by PETA. You think we should get PETA to sponsor us? If we're like, I wish the alligator would have eaten both of them.
Yeah. Alligators are hungry and they need food.
They need food. And those girls were ripe for the picking.
Yeah. I actually met the creator of Swamp People. She did an interview with me.
You told me that. She's doing a documentary with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be in a documentary about COVID-19 that might end up on Netflix.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You could use that as a credit when you get back into stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
Seen on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm going to use that like as seen on Netflix and as heard on NPR. I'm going to use all that as credits to like.
You need to get a Tinder.
A Tinder?
Yeah, and you need all those listed in.
Oh,
you may have heard me on NPR or seen me on Netflix. NBD. I like long walks on the beach.
I
don't know. I'm out of the dating game.
Yeah.
I like the beach a lot. I'm gonna buy a beach house.
Say what?
I'm gonna buy a beach house.
Don't buy a beach house. Those are horrible investments.
I can't afford it, but I'm gonna figure it out. How is that a horrible investment? Don't fuck with my finances.
They get washed away all the time.
They get hurricaned. Yeah, they do get hurricaned a little bit.
And they get this is a true story that I read about once. A boat ran into a house.
Well, I'm not going to be right on the damn beach. I'm going to be like a quarter of a mile away.
All right. I will come visit you during the non-rainy seasons.
Those don't exist. It's going to be in Galveston. Doesn't exist.
Freaking Houston, man. Like East Texas. Like you say one thing about West Texas is like it's a dry heat.
I like the dry heat. I love it. I hate East Texas. Jesus, I live there. All right, let's do you have any more articles? Because I'm going to pee my pants. Let's hit one more article.
All right, we will hit one more article. So this is one that I just barely pulled up while I was actually looking for a different article. Assuming my phone works again.
Is it the lobsters? I can read the title if it's the lobsters.
Yeah, go ahead and read the title really fast.
Okay.
This made me sad almost.
The title, I'm not making shit up. Half-baked. Lobsters doused with pot, smoke. I'm sorry, I did not read that well. Half-baked. Lobsters doused with pot smoke to test pain during cooking.
This brings new meaning to putting lobsters in the pot. I'll start off with a good joke. Yeah. Research re-identified lobster pot after testing whether or not dosing the crustaceans with marijuana smoke could ease their pain as they are being cooked. What the fuck? Who thinks of this shit? Like, let's be inhumane, but like let's make it like okay-ish.
I love this because these are like scientists and they had to go to a shop that sells weed and be like, so I'm gonna torture a lobster. Is that a sativa or is that an indica? Like what's the best high for a lobster who's getting boiled alive?
Yeah, and we definitely decided like smoke. Like we're not gonna look into edibles at all. All right.
It's what is that gonna prove?
Well, like I don't know if it would change anything. It's like, oh, it makes them like less. It makes getting boiled less painful. It's like, oh, now we know that we're
They're
not
still
wasting our
boiled.
pot.
Do you think it makes the lobsters edibles?
That's another. I doubt it, but maybe. Like,
Like
I
if you made a lobster like smoke a shit ton of weed every day for let's say 6 months, do you think you'd get a little high when you ate it?
maybe.
But what are they trying to prove here? Like that weed takes away pain? I just don't.
I don't know if they're looking for human applications of this. Like, we've already had plenty of field testing of this stuff on humans. Like, you don't need to like test it on animals first. Like, humans have been testing themselves with this stuff for years.
Yeah.
So I don't know what practical applications other than we want to be nicer to lobsters.
Jesus, I hate this.
I
They just got the lobsters high as fuck and put them in 120-degree water.
Yeah, so like we're gonna boil you to death.
When I read a line, I'm going through it. But the blazed crustacean still didn't take too kindly to being cooked. Like, what did they think was going to happen?
Like, what amount of weed do you think like people are like, just kill me. It's fine. Like, I'm not gonna be that guy.
Oh my god.
They found that the critters were noticeably slowed down with samples taken later over their gills. Claws, heart, brain, and liver revealed lobsters did indeed absorb the THC. So they absorbed it and they slowed down a bit. So it seems yeah, it seems like this. I don't know. Like, this is a cruel study. Like we're trying to make. We're still gonna murder them, but we're just gonna try to make it less painful.
Yeah, it's well, and there's pictures of it, and it seems like it was hard to make. Like they got engineers in here. Like they had to go to an engineer and they had to be like, look, we need to know how to get a lobster high. And an engineer who went to 8 years of college was like, I got you. I've studied for this.
It's like this is what my MIT degree was for. Getting sea dwelling creatures high. So
did we miss anything big? Burger King. We had 2 Burger Kings.
Yeah, we had 2 Burger Kings. Chrissy Teigen's kind of a bully.
Yeah, Chrissy Teigen is kind of a jerk. We're still not canceling her though.
I mean, like, we need to have a conversation about cancellation at some point.
Well, okay, so one thing, I think Chrissy Teigen is attractive. I'm not taking away from her attractiveness, but I also think she's kind of cute. Mm-hmm. You know, there's the like hot, and then there's the like hot, but you're kind of cute and like kind of funny. She was in the fucking stuff. So we let her get away with shit. And it's fine. I don't know. It's also she's bullying people that we all bully.
Yeah, we bullied people that everybody unanimously hated at that same time.
Yeah, she bullied a bunch of the kids from Teen Moms. And I'm not saying that's okay, but I'm also saying that if you ever watched Teen Moms and you weren't like, look at that dumb bitch, like you're lying. Like we all were mean to them. She just was mean to them and is more famous than you.
Yeah. And then
I'm not supporting her, but she chose good targets to have sympathy to where everyone's like, yeah, I kind of made fun of them too.
Yeah, and so one thing is I don't like it when everybody gets on their high horse and acts like they've never been. They're like, I've never done anything like that. It's like, shut up. Everybody has. Yeah. Like everybody's been on the side where like, at least they're not talking shit about me. Like, and you could be the bigger man like you want to be and be like, if you stop that, you like that is a person over there. And maybe you think about that. And maybe it does like legitimately bother you, but plenty of times like you didn't say anything at the time, or you piled on with the rest of us.
Yeah, that shit really bothers me, and I've still made fun of a lot of people because I go like, oh well, if I don't, I'm not going to be cool, or I'll just be like, oh, I think it's funny. Like, I'm so glad the internet is amazing and awful, and it's like I've done terrible shit, like to where and it's hard to explain and just well, I was a dumb kid, but a lot of it was just I was a dumb kid.
Yeah, that's like another thing with the digital age is a lot of your mistakes. Like, luckily, before social media, like I had a bit of a conscience. But if social media was like a huge thing when I was like in high school,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, like I would be so worried about stuff. Like I would be going back I would be scrolling back years, deleting all sorts of stupid stuff I thought and said.
Well, and I think people have to understand human nature, especially at such a young age. I mean, I teach 7th grade, and I had to teach a Holocaust unit. I heard so many kids making fun of the Holocaust. And the thing is, I don't think they're bad people at all. But I think there is an age to where you go, this thing makes me uncomfortable because it's a lot of emotions. It's a lot to handle as at 12 years old going, and 6 million people died, and a lot of people just let them die, and it's a lot to emotionally handle. And sometimes an escapism for that is being like, well, I'm going to make a joke about it. And so I had a lot of 12-year-olds make jokes about the Holocaust this year. I didn't let them do it. I would give a speech where I'd be like, hey, I don't want to hear these jokes. But I was also sympathetic to where I'd say, hey, I understand that this makes you uncomfortable and you're at an age to where like saying things you're not supposed to say is funny. That's the same reason a 12-year-old will go anal and it'll be the funniest thing in the world because they think they're not supposed to say it. So it's not really them going, I don't care about people who were murdered or I agree with it. They're just saying like, this is how I'm coping with this deep emotion, and I'm at an age.
Well, you don't
they're
understand.
at an age now to where they can put it on the internet. And
yeah.
When they 27, someone will be like, well, when you're 12, when you were 12 years old, you said, LOL, the Holocaust. And it's like, yeah, but they were stupid and it's not really their fault. So I have less sympathy for adults, but there's like we have to understand everyone was a dumb kid who didn't know how to process emotions at some point.
Well, yeah, like that's a huge problem that I have is like when people like get called out on shit that they did, like that they said when they were younger. So yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that because like I know for sure that I would be in that boat if I had like slight technical difficulties there, but I think we're back. Yeah, like so like he without sin throws the first stone. Actually, I still got my hospital wristband on. So yeah, like just I think that people should remember, and at the same time, they're like a lot of times like you'll read those comments where like at no point were those jokes okay, and you're like, yeah, but that's like another thing is sometimes making a joke a light joke at about a hard situation or making light of a bad situation is just the only way to deal with shit. Like,
yeah, it's very
yeah,
and comedians are depressed.
Yeah,
comedians are depressed. We have a lot of emotions. I'm not giving anyone a pass, but I do like I've been lucky enough to surround myself with people to where like I'll tell a joke and they'll go like, hey, that wasn't funny and here's why. And I listen to them, but they don't go, hey, that wasn't funny and I'm going to ruin your life.
Yeah. And because that's where I would disagree with somebody. That's where I would I just don't know why we have to like go on and like ruin people's lives. Like people get fired from their jobs nowadays.
It depends on what it's about for me.
Oh yeah, like for sure. Like if you call the cops on a dude for being black, uh, and say he's attacking you in a park when you're on video and that's clearly not what happened, yeah, maybe your company doesn't want anything to do with you for sure. But then like I don't know, like if you said something like I don't know, if you said like a joke that was supposed to be taken as a joke and not supposed to be taken seriously at any point at all, and then people try to chastise you for it, like I think that's like a little different.
Yeah, I'm still. It depends on the joke. It depends on the age too. Like when people are pulling up, like, well, this person said this when they were 14. I'm like, yeah, they were 14. Like, I don't know. I have a little bit more sympathy for young age, and I have sympathy for growth and being like, yeah, I thought that. Like, I mean, I was not. I don't know. There's a lot like, yeah, I was raised to believe this. I was raised to believe that gay people go to hell
Oh
for
yeah.
my life. And that's wrong. And I disagree with it now. But like that was also coming from a place to where I spent 15 years of someone basically indoctrinating me to think this.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive to that stuff too. I never was on that train. I was always like, it feels wrong to me. Like when I was being told that, but there were other things that was like told to me by people that supposedly knew better that I did full on agree with. And then now like I realize and kind of evolved past it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I kind of realized that you go too far one way, at some point, like you start like you get too much in an echo chamber either way. Like you
Sure.
start like not thinking straight, and then like you're just saying stuff to get gratification back rather than trying to learn or grow. So that's why I said like I think that you should intentionally keep people around you that you disagree with on a healthy amount, but you also don't have to keep dicks around you
Yeah.
if you don't want to.
And read news sources that don't agree with your. If you are very liberal, read a couple of Fox articles. If you're very Republican, read a couple of CNBC articles. Like you should not be. You should. We should all be trying to avoid the echo chamber to the best
Yeah,
of our ability.
yeah, like or read the Hill, stuff like that. I agree with that. One thing that so it was a joke that I was like all my Republican friends think I'm a liberal, and all my liberal friends think I'm a racist. Um, but like on Facebook, it gets annoying because like I kind of argue on both sides quite a lot. Like when I disagree full heartedly on one thing, in fact, actually, it was going to be a show that I was going to pitch was the court of public opinion and whether or not people get fair shakes in public opinion, because sometimes you'll hear a story and you'll hear two drastically different versions of that story depending on the news sources that those people live in.
Yeah.
One time there was this is a time that stuck with me, was there was a basketball player, Sterling Brown. He played for the Celtics at the time. He was tased by cops. He did illegally park in front of a CVS, and then when the cop was going to give him a ticket, he was just asking the cop not to give him a ticket. Anybody that watched that video can clearly see that he was not posing a threat, at least intentionally, at all. And he gets tased, like seemingly out of nowhere. And it seems like the cops were the ones that escalated the situation. It doesn't seem like he escalates the situation at all. And I watched that video a few times. And so I was running back when I ran, and there's a man that lives in my neighborhood. He's actually a really nice guy. But you know, card toting, NRA, like all that stuff. Like, so like he has no idea, like all he thinks is like liberal bullshit, stuff like that. Like he has no idea like any of the validity of any of those arguments. But he was like, "Can you believe that these officers might lose their job just because it was a famous basketball player?" And I was like, "You didn't see the video?" I was like, "Here, let me." I was like, "I'm not always on the officers or the person who got shot. Like, I'm not saying that it's always the officer's fault, but this specific time, for sure. Like, if you just watch this video and he's like, I don't want to watch that shit. I was like, then you just don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that like every single time do I agree with like all the public outrage for every single event, but this specific one, for sure.
Well, you saw the primary source. You saw the video.
Yeah.
And he needs to watch the video or not have an opinion. And
yeah. And I think that, and like, I don't want to really get into that exact issue. My issue being with this is like, there's a lot of people that don't want to know the truth. They prefer to stay on their side. And there are times where I was arguing with people, like, I was like, I saw the video on that and it didn't look the way that you said that it looked.
yeah.
And then they're like, well, I never saw the video. Or it's like, well, the part of the video that I watched, like, they'll see like a little clip of it and there's way more context to it. There's a clip of where it seems like Barack Obama is encouraging illegal voters to vote. If you watch the whole video, he's clearly not. But that one clip kind of seems like it is. And I don't know. Like, it just annoys me that people don't look deeper. And it happens on both sides.
It definitely does.
So
but I am gonna call it.
Yes, I agree. It's kind of getting late.
This has been Comedically Correct. I'm Corey Evans.
I am Andrew Holiday. And how are we signing off? Good day and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good day and have a pleasant tomorrow.
All right, we'll find something good.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.